Hi, Dan from Your Flesh and Support Services here. Welcome to this chat about healing with CPTSD. I've talked about living with CPTSD. When you see sort of like the 7 steps to becoming a millionaire, follow these steps and you'll become a millionaire. And there might be some validity in those steps, but if it was reality tested in the sense of like if everyone in the world picked up the book with the 7 steps to become a millionaire, it would be as simply as that. Just follow these 7 steps, we're all millionaires. You're not a millionaire? Take these 7 steps, read this book, and you'll become a millionaire. Now, some of these things are merely just a money-making thing, and others, they might be the exact steps that you might take, but there's a lot of past adversity that gets in the way of taking those steps. To take a step forward into that fear of knowing that we deserve more sometimes is a huge thing for some people. So similar to healing modalities, there is sometimes for some people going to be that one fix-all modality, or it could be a combination of modalities to deal with a combination of background experiences. And this video is not about like which is the right and which is the wrong, or what works and what doesn't work, because really your individual trauma is individual to yourself, and your individual recovery from that is going to be an individual journey for yourself. Many people can experience a car accident, but their recovery from that trauma is going to be purely individual to their background experience. They might have had different adversities, different backgrounds, and those challenges will then be the challenges moving forward from healing from that trauma. So if we see stories of like the great success of like, yes, I've healed my childhood trauma, or I've done all this sort of thing, the comparison can actually sometimes not be a good thing, because it's like, well, that person's done it, I'm doing the exact same thing, why aren't I the millionaire? Why aren't I healed? So it's more a video around that sort of thing, to not be discouraged and to be encouraged, and to bring awareness to something, because awareness can be both a good thing and a bad thing, but a bad thing in the sense of it's still a good thing. Healing from trauma can sometimes for people be a lifelong journey. If we look at childhood trauma, it's a developmental trauma. So if you've had childhood developmental trauma, it means in your development as a child to an adult, there's been a lot of adversity, a lot of thought systems, a lot of belief systems that now need to be undone. And how we seek that out, especially in a world that's not really that trauma informed, can be hard, because your reasoning, your logic of something can't fully encapsulate experience sometimes. It's not how you feel, or it can be misinterpreted. I talked about this in another video. If you say the wrong thing, express the wrong way, you can get misdiagnosed. Like I talked in an INFJ chat, it was the Unreal INFJ one, where me expressing to a psychiatrist that I felt like an alien on this world sort of thing literally was one of the things, because he read out when I got re-diagnosed with CPTSD that Dion thought he was an alien and he didn't have a good view of the world that he was. But that was me just merely saying, I feel like an alien because I feel foreign. I don't feel like I fit in that, because I was always excluded from things. So sometimes your words carry weight with certain people. When we're healing from trauma, there's going to be many different things that do work. When I did the Living with CPTSD video, there were people in the comments that were saying EMDR was the thing. EMDR was great for processing that trauma. EMDR is great for PTSD, CPTSD, probably more PTSD, but some people were reporting great results with CPTSD. Some people were reporting bad results. Some people were reporting just meh, or sometimes it was the actual practitioner, the psychologist, that was the key ingredient of it being a success or not. So we have a modality there to treat trauma that is having success with some and not so much success with others. There can be, I'm just going to put on my hat because we've got the sun just going straight into my eyes. We've also got, for example, where sometimes what is the success for a person is merely built upon the unsuccessful modalities that didn't work, because everything that has an effect on your body, be it positive or negative, does create change within the body. Like me no longer wanting to do this therapy because it doesn't work was the key ingredient that got me to the therapy that did work for me. So it doesn't mean that I discredit that. It just means that that was not of value, but it was the key ingredient that got me to something else. Another way to say that was, until I had that heart attack, I fully realized that, I needed to make changes for my life. Or when I fell over, hit my head, that was the thing that created change in my life. It wasn't the greatest thing to happen, but it started to shift me towards something that did work for me. So sometimes that very seventh step took all the falls continually down the other step to get to that. So we can never fully look to like the success story and go, well, that was an overnight success, and their journey was just click of the fingers and they were there. And I think that's another important part about healing with trauma, is that developmental trauma. It's a redevelopment of oneself. It's a recovery of oneself to relearn what is healthy and what is not healthy. I could simply say that, tap away the stress and that's it. But that's not all, that's it. Because down-regulating the nervous system is going to be a huge thing. It's also why when I was fronting up to CBT psychologists and everything like that, I was in a traumatized state because I was trying to rationally comprehend what they were saying. But if I go outside of that environment to a home, be it a home or a relationship home where I'm under threat, then me trying to bring that cognition of rationalization into something that is threatening is going to be very hard. When we are down-regulating our nervous system, it's important because we can become more receptive to information that's coming. It's great for learning. When we're feeling good, when we're feeling happy and all that, we're more in a creative state. When we're feeling angry, if we're feeling under threat, there's bills coming in, there's this impending doom that's threatening our survival, we're not going to be in a very receptive state. We're only going to be doing what we need to do to get done. So down-regulating the nervous system is a huge thing, and there's many different modalities to do that. But it's not the only thing, because once we're in that receptive state, then it becomes the relearning of what we've developed along our ways, how not to get into those relationships that just wear us out or devalue us, how to bring awareness to some of our behaviors that, even though there's not the stress behind it, there's still a behavioral pattern there. So how to get ourselves out of that, what brings us now value. And sometimes that can be with a CBT person, or it can be with someone that is good with those sorts of logical counselor or anything like that, where they can start to train some new behaviors of what is new and what's normal. Because the other thing with awareness is that once we down-regulate our nervous system, it doesn't necessarily mean that it stays down-regulated. Stress is always going to be a part of our life, but sometimes when we bring awareness to, or have conscious awareness about when we're reflecting upon some of how we were treated in our childhoods and in relationships and that, it'll be like, crap, I really wasn't that valued. I was demeaned. I was just there to be used. And sometimes that having awareness of that can also build up on those emotions again. So, and that can be, it's kind of like with a grief process. It can be over a long period of time. It's like similar to these trees. There was no life hack to them growing to the height that they are now. It took time. It took a process for them to grow. Some have fallen over. Some are still growing. Some will be here for a while. Some will be subject to their environment. So you can only go at the pace of the person. Like EFT tapping, for example, like there is no limit to how many times you can tap during a day. But if you come across an emotion that is strong, is powerful within you, and you have a big crying release and it's very like cathartic and that, I would say, and similar like with my business and how I was taught, take 2 days off, just rest, let it reintegrate, let it settle within the body, let some awareness of what happened come in before doing it again. It's up to you if you choose to tap in that time, but we've also got to allow experiences to resonate within our body, to settle. When that big shift happens, when we're crying, when we're having just screaming, whatever it is, just getting it out of the body. We've got to allow that body to settle. Anything where we're continually doing something on a daily practice, you start to get to things where we start to create headaches, we start to create pain within the body. I've come across modalities where it's like, well, just keep going through it sort of thing, which if you're in a gym and you're lifting and you're feeling pain in your leg and you can feeling like it's breaking sort of thing, and it's like the gym instructor says, well, you just need to push through it sort of thing. Is that great advice, or do you want to take a rest and maybe work on another part of your body, or just take a break for the day sort of thing? Let your body heal. And it's similar with emotional pain sort of thing. Sometimes pushing through it can be a good thing, or it can't be a good thing. Healing from that trauma is going to be similar with the EFT tapping videos. There's going to be lots of great advice, and there's going to be lots of great examples of people healing and doing all these things and that, but try not to be disheartened by that. The best thing to do is focus on yourself. There's going to be a lot of great advice out there, but it's finding the advice that works for you. There's other EFT practitioners. Brad Yates is a huge person that I look up to sort of thing. I'll actually recommend him sometimes to some of my clients, because I'm a person that it's not about what's best for me, it's about what's best for you and what works for you in that moment. So if there's videos that I have or he's done better, I'll recommend that sort of thing. So it's about finding the collaborative approach. If EFT tapping's not the thing, is it breath work? Is it seeing your doctor? Is it seeing something else? There's going to be a collaborative approach. And it's actually a smart approach to do, because if that one tool that you've been relying on and being told to rely on isn't quite doing it for you, then you kind of want something else to fall back on, something else to try. And having a tool set, like you can't just build a house with just a hammer. You kind of need a few other tools. And rebuilding yourself, you need a few other tools to help rebuild yourself, to get yourself both in your body and in your mind a little bit more balanced, a little bit more stable, building that foundational strength within yourself. And if someone's dictating to you that you need to just do this modality and this is the best sort of thing, then is it just best for them? Is it just in their best interest? So for me, like when you look at trauma where choice is being taken away from you, you're being attacked, you're being in a situation where you couldn't fight back or you couldn't run away from the situation, all choices being taken away from you, in your healing journey, you kind of want that choice being instrumental to yourself. The choice of what you want to do, how to guide your life, how to navigate your life, what works best for you. And what works best for you is what you know within yourself. If it's a healthy choice and betters your life, then go for it. If EFT tapping helps you along that journey, good. But I would also say integrate a few more other things in there. And that can be just as simple as what I did to get here. Go for a walk. Or if there's overthinking, maybe start doing something simple. And that little things to start shift ourselves out, to relearn, to redevelop. And it's basically teaching yourself a new way of being out of what was familiar. Because sometimes what is familiar is comfortable, but it leads us into like a cycle of where we just feel bad about ourselves and we feel run down and that. So sometimes it is about doing the opposite to what we know and what we feel. For introverts, it could be going out into the extroverted world and doing something that takes us out of what we know, sort of thing. Something simple as that. And of course, we'll always return to what we know, but that period, that incremental growth about slowly stepping up creates big things. So it's like from that, if we use a tree metaphor, it's from those little things, big things grow. From that seed, that development, you'll grow into something a little bit bigger. That's why I say learn and grow, because you're learning and growing a new sense of self. Once again, this is not a chat about which modality to take and all that. It's what works for you. So, Andy, I'm from Inflation Support Services, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.